Hello and welcome to Whittle Waffle. I'm Stacey Whittle, and this is probably the shortest amount of time in between episodes of my whatever you call this. And it's for an exciting reason. So yeah, we'll get there. I've got a new little setup, so I've got a new light, and we'll see if it annoys me as much in my glasses as the ring light did. So if I take them off halfway through, it's because it has. And I've got a new little mic. We'll see if that helps. You alright, Mike? Alright. Because I noticed that the sound quality on the last one wasn't very good. We'll see if that helps. It might not, but we can try. Last time when I was talking to you a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I'd been dipping my toe into writing some comics, and then it's out. I say it. What I did is I've written a one-page story in a children's comic called Monster Fun. I think it might be flipped the wrong way for you, but there you go, that's what it looks like. It's published by Rebellion, who also published 2000 AD, and I've written a script called Gums. He's a shark with no teeth. So it's a real thing that exists in the world, and you can buy it. And should you want to, then you can. You can just it's in WH Smith's and some supermarkets, and also online you can buy it digitally or in print. And if you just Google Monster Fun comic, which is what I did. You can also follow them on Twitter and all of that stuff as well, should you want to. But it's such a good comic. So I hadn't been picking this up because I thought I think it's aged from about 7 to 12, something like that. And my oldest at home is 16, so too old really. And then the youngest is 4, and I thought that she'd be too young for it. However, what I say is, she quite liked mine, so it was very good, Mum. But she really loved my friend Lizzie Boyle's strip, which is Dracula's, which she loved and thought was absolutely hilarious. So, well done, Lizzie. Yeah, the little one absolutely loved that. So, yeah, this is one of the most, I can't even tell you how exciting it is to be a comic writer. I totally did this. And the art is by Brett Parson, who also does Tank Girl. I was beyond. So I got to tell you this story. So those of you who've been with me since I was an audio podcast and when we used to do the Megacast, my friend Is, who we met through our love of comics, and we podcasted together for a long time, and we're still busy mates. So she was coming up for a visit, and I hadn't seen her for nearly a year. And while I was waiting for her on the train station, I popped into the WH Smith's just to see if it was out. I didn't think it would be because I thought it was due out the next day, and it was there. And I was so overcome seeing something that I'd written like in print like this, and with the art which I hadn't seen, making it like look really amazing, that I like rushed over to the checkout guy and was like, I did this. And he was very kind. So thank you, WH Smith's Newcastle. Such kind, lovely staff who didn't call the police. Anyway, I was so excited and texting everyone that I know that I actually missed Iz's train coming in. She just like tapped me on the shoulder. And I was like, look at this. So yeah, to say it was exciting is an understatement. And I've got not much feedback, but it's all been very positive. And that's been just, I can't tell you how exciting it is, and it's not something I ever thought I could do. I've written for other things before in the past, but it's always been non-fiction. I've been paid to write comic reviews and blogs and articles and things like that, but never you know, I've written some short stories just for me and things, but I never, so I could, I thought it would be too complicated, like all these books about how to do it and how to make sense and this, that and the other. And I have to say a big thank you to my lovely friend Alec Wally, who was on the other end of the phone and calmed me down straight away when I said that I could do it, to tell me yes I could, and to help me think about how to process it and how to do it. And I did a lot of research as well, very quickly, in a panic state of mind. And it's just a format, and once you get your head around the format, then it's actually not that scary. But doing something new in your mid-40s is scary, no matter what it is. Whatever it is it's scary. It is scary, and I'm so proud of myself, because it would have been so easy to say no and not do it. And I wouldn't be having this joy right now, this joy that I did this thing. And even if I don't do anything else, I did this and I've got it forever. So yeah, if you do pick it up, please let me know. Let me know what you think. It's only a page, like I say, but it's a start and it's an adventure, and what's the fun? And that's why I'm podcasting again so quickly. I did forget to mention some stuff last time, and also I had some video issues, so I thought I talked about something, but it was in the bit that I lost, so I'll go over those things that I thought I talked about, and it turned out that I hadn't. But yeah, so that is the beginning of my usual section, what I'm reading, but it was also what I was writing. That's monster fun. And comes the shock. And oh, sorry, I know I'm going on. And you know I won't edit it. It is an old character, and it's an old comic that's been brought back from the 60s, I think. And so that feels really nice as well to yeah. I don't know what I was going to say there. You fill it in. Waffle. It's called Waffle for a reason. So what else have I been reading? Not that much, because it's not that long since last we were together. But I did say last time that I'd got myself a Batman comic, which I had, and this is it. And it is called Batman White Knight by Sean Murphy with Matt Hollingsworth. And I'm only about a quarter way through it. Yeah. But I'm really enjoying it. It's quite different from any of the other Batmans that I've read. I've read quite a lot of Batman now. I do like him. But I read, how I read it is I pick up the odd collected edition, not in any sort of order. And just, you know, I have friends recommend them, and that's how I've read a lot of them. But this one I picked up on my own, or maybe Peter recommended it in the Forbidden Planet, I can't remember. But like I say, I'm only halfway through at the minute, and it is a really odd setup in that the Joker's being cured of his madness. And I really like that as an idea, like, who is he under that? And we're starting to find out. So like I say, I'm only a quarter of the way, if that, not even that, through it. But it's really nice to be reading comics again. I like the art quite a lot. I like little, I don't know if I can show you this little panel where that is Joker, but look at his shadow. Nice. Could you see that? I can't see. Yeah. So that's him, but that's how we think of him. So that's nice. I like that. So I'm enjoying that, and I'll talk about that more properly when I've finished it, because it's really difficult to talk halfway through. It's easier to talk through a book halfway through than it is a comic halfway through, I think. But there you go. The biggest thing I forgot to talk about last time is because I mentioned it, that I'd been reading the books, when I said I would talk about it when we got to the telly, because there was a link, and then I forgot to talk about it. So this is going to be both telly and what I'm reading, because it is the last thing that I'm reading. So I had noticed on Prime that there was a series called Three Pines. I hadn't really heard anything about it, didn't really know anything about it, but the star was Alfred Molina, who is a fantastic British actor who might be best known to us nerdy folks as being Doc Ock in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Oh, and also the most recent one he came back for as well. And he was great in that part because he was kind of tortured, wasn't he? Like he's been taken over by this thing, but that wasn't who he was at his core. And yeah, I got a soft spot for him. And he's a fabulous actor, and so I thought, oh, I love him. I'll give that a try. I haven't not been recommended it anywhere. And it's a sort of a detective series about this man, Alfred Molina, who is Armand Gamache, and it's set in Quebec, so it's sort of some bits of French and some bits of English, but it's really easy to follow subtitles and what have you. It's been shot beautifully. It's in this beautiful area in the middle of nowhere in Quebec, and it's sort of 8 episodes in the series, and so somebody's drilling next door. 4 two-parters essentially with an over arc, and I enjoyed the over arc, but the individual stories are what was the meat as far as I'm concerned. This was excellent and sort of linked them all together, but I really enjoyed the each individual story, and I suppose you could watch 2 and then go off. You don't have to watch all of it in one go like I did in one delicious big gulp, like all of it. I loved it so much. It was so quirky and endearing and sad and emotional and heartwarming and funny. And what I really liked is the main character. He is a bit all detectives seem to be a little bit tortured, don't they? None of them are just sort of like people going to do their day job and then going home. But this one, there's something stolid about him and calm and trustworthy. Like if I was talking to him, I would want to keep talking to him. He has this presence, and he has a great relationship with his wife. He's a happy man. He's happy with his life. He is tortured a little bit by stuff that happened in his past. And it makes such a change for us as well. For a main character to have a really healthy relationship with their spouse is just kind of lovely to see. And this little town, like I want to go and live there. I want to know these people. I want to go to Myrna's bookshop, and I just fell in love with the place. So my friend Si told me that his wife had been a massive fan of the books and had really enjoyed the television series, and I thought, well, that is a good sign, because usually if you have someone who's a massive fan of a book, whether it's turned into a television series or a film or whatever, it's you get more judgmental and you can not like things because you have such set ideas of what things look like in your head. So the fact that she recommended reading the books after seeing the thing, I was like, oh, well, if she liked both, and I loved this television series, I loved it, I'll try the book. So I got the first book, and I think it's called Still Life, I think. I've forgotten to write them down, what it did. Anyway, Still Life, I think. But when I looked it up on Goodreads, it seems to have lots of different titles. So it's book 1 in the Inspector Gamache series, and it seems to have different titles depending on where you are. Anyway, loved it, fell madly in love. I've now read the next one, and I'm halfway through the third one. And I can't get enough of this. You know how I was saying last time that I didn't have that book last year, that book that I wanted you to like, you've got to read this, like this for me. And it might be quite a personal thing, and the fact that I feel like that way when I was a young girl, and I would curl up with the book and I felt like I was in it. And you know when people talk to you and it's hard to pull yourself back out of that place, that's the feeling I get when I'm listening to these books, and it's a nice feeling. And even though it's like murder, I hate the term cozy mystery, because if there's a murder in it, it shouldn't be cozy. There's nothing cozy about people being slaughtered, and I hate that term. I hate it especially if people apply it to Agatha Christie. No. Miss Marple as a person might be cozy, but as a friend often says, mind like a sink. She's not actually that cozy. She's a very empathetic person who sees the world for what it is and not what you think it should be. It's very not like there's something cozy about her because she knits. I'm a fat cozy knitter, aren't I? Swear like a trooper. Am I cozy? Am I cozy? I don't know. Anyway, I don't like the term. I don't understand where it originates from, and especially dislike it attached to Agatha Christie. But anyway, I heard these books described as that, and I don't think it is that. So I think that because there's good characterization and a great sense of place where you feel comfortable, that doesn't necessarily mean cozy when people are dying horrible deaths. And there's betrayal, and there's intrigue. It's a mystery. Don't say cozy mystery. I hate it. Anyway, one of my personal bugbears. Another one. Every one of these episodes is littered with them, aren't there? Things that irritate me. Need therapy, probably. Anyway, I can't recommend either enough. Whether you start with the book and you move to the series, or you start with the series and you move to the book, I think it doesn't matter, because I don't know whether because I see him in the role that I don't know where it's come from. He's perfect. He is Gamache. He has that sense of warmth and caring, and everything that is in the book, he is left there on the screen. And I don't know how much of I've been influenced by Melina when I'm reading the books, or whether he's just picked it up so perfectly. I can't decide either which way. I can see him in that place when I'm reading or listening to the books, and I just think he's wonderful. He's absolutely, I knew he was wonderful anyway, but actually, and I want to watch them again. I recommended them to my sister. My sister's watched them as well, and I can't recommend it enough. Something about it just grabbed us and has got tight hold of us and is not letting go, and I'm quite okay with that right now. So there's probably going to be more 3 Pines talk as we go on, but yeah, 3 Pines. I can't remember if it got cut if I talked about Devil's Hour last time. So Devil's Hour is another Prime series, which I was attracted to because it stars Peter Capaldi, and as everyone knows, I'm a massive Doctor Who fan, so obviously. Also, I just love Peter Capaldi. He's an excellent actor and quite attractive and interesting. He's in a Poirot in the Dim and Distant Past, one of the early ones, and he's so beautiful in it. Honestly, I can't remember which one it's called. It's the one with the bees. I can't remember the title right now. It'll come to us like at 3 a.m. Thanks for that, brain. But yeah, one of the David Suchets. Yeah, it's good. I'm Tangent City today. So Devil's Hour, Prime series, another mystery, but this one, and I really don't even want to say much about it because I knew nothing about it, and that was the best way to watch it. It's atmospheric, it trips you up, it doesn't take you where you think it's going to take you, and whether you think it's somewhere over there. It is interesting and different, and I've not seen anything like it, and the cast is incredible. And the main reason the series shines, I mean, Peter Capaldi is excellent, but the main reason it shines is because of Jessica Raine, who is the lead character, and she's best known for being in Call the Midwife, which I've only ever watched once on Christmas Day because my mother-in-law wanted to watch it. It's not for me, but I understand it's very popular. And I liked some of the dresses, I'll be honest. And there was some nice knitwear. But anyway, Jessica Raine, outstanding in this role. Outstanding. Like, at some points you want to just like get up and hug her and then go for a glass of wine with her. She's what's that word? Like when she's on screen you want to look at her. She's magnetic. Is that the right word? Anyway, I don't want to give much away. I know they've got another series and I can't wait for that, because the twists and turns in this, like, when you settled into thinking you know what's what, you don't know what's what. And it's not often things can proper knock your legs from underneath you. It's another one I recommended with my sister. I watched it over about the course of a week. I recommended to my sister and I spoke to her the next day and she'd been up all night watching it. She couldn't stop. So there's another good recommendation. So if you have watched it, let us know what you think, because I thought it was brilliant and I haven't heard that much chat about it. And the same for Three Pines. So if you've watched either of them, chat to us in the comments box below. And thank you. I think it was Ken who mentioned that in the comments box last time that Mike Carey might be doing a new Felix Castor book. Oh, I hope that's true. I haven't seen anything else written about it. Thank you for letting me know, because I'm such a fan of that series. Oh, such a fan. So I hope, fingers crossed, because we've waited for that new book for a ridiculous amount of time just because he went off to be successful. Let's not call Mike Carey names for finding an amazing career and being fabulous. But yeah, more Felix Castor, please. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about those. Still watching the 1980s masterpiece Robin of Sherwood with Michael Praed, directed by Richard Carpenter, also starring Ray Winston and who else? The guy who plays Inspector Japp in the Poirot is Philip Jackson. And who else? Clive Mantle. I'd forgotten he was in it, and he plays Little John. And I knew him best from Casualty. He's in an episode of Sherlock as well. He's in the Hounds of the Baskerville episode. And he's very attractive indeed. A tall man with wild hair and a beard wearing mostly just skins. Turns out I'm quite happy with that. Weird, I know. This series, I watched it in the 80s and then I watched it in the early 2000s, I think, because I did do a blog about this for SFX magazine as well, that I'd got there. It was really hard to track it down at that point, and I ended up buying it on DVD from the Netherlands, which is where I got my 10th Kingdom DVDs from as well. I know I talked about that last time. But now it's on, I thought it was on BritBox, but it's not. It's on BritBox America, but it's not on BritBox UK, so I don't think there's any way you can watch it in the UK still, bizarrely. I might be wrong about that, but when we looked back to get the DVDs back out, it is so good. It's so good. And also, there's huge bits of it literally lifted into the film, the Kevin Costner film. We say the Kevin Costner film, it's the Alan Rickman film. Anyone who's seen that film knows it's the Alan Rickman film. He's outstanding in that film. I mean, I have a thing for Alan Rickman anyway, but Alan, we miss you. I don't know, I didn't know him, but we still miss him. I love Alan Rickman. Oh, did you ever see that Texas video where he's dancing with Charlene Spiteri in the car park? That lucky lady. Anyway, that's on YouTube. I watch it often. Pretend I'm Charlene Spiteri. Anyway, I've lost what? So there's whole bits of that series have been lifted, even little bits. Like the fighting over the river with the sticks. That's how Kevin Costner's Robin Hood meets Little John. So that's not how he meets him in this, but that happens. And you're like, whew. I mean, they took all the pagan stuff. There's a lot of pagan stuff, and the merry men worship Herne the Hunter, and Robin is the son of Herne the Hunter, and there's quite a lot of stuff about that. And none of that was in the film, but there's like lines taken. And of course, Mark Richardson, who played Nazir, he was just in this series. He's not from the Legends, and they lifted him as well. He's taken wholesale from Robin Sherwood. We are almost through the second series at the moment, and honestly, if you can get a hold of it and watch it, it is outstanding. It is written so well. There's a tiny little bit of, I think, sort of panto acting, but I think that must have been quite hard to avoid in those outfits. Ray Winston, often very angry as Will Scarlet, and there's a lot of power poses. I really like that. Honestly, Dirty Old Lady, but particularly when Michael Pratt assumes a power pose and his shirt falls open, he's got all that hairy chest. If you can see it, do. It holds up. It holds up, and I'm enjoying watching it so much. So there you go. That's everything that I've written and read and watched, I think, since the last time, which wasn't very long ago. I've got a lot of knitting and spinning to talk about. So if you're leaving me here, thank you for getting through that. Why wouldn't you enjoy the knitting stuff? Knitting's awesome. It's very good for you. It's very good for staving off Alzheimer's. It's very good for working both sides of your brain. It's very good for keeping your hands moving. It's very good for helping you focus. Physiotherapists now use it, and so do pain clinics, because it's very good for pain management, because it distracts your brain a little bit, so you're distracted from your pain. It has so many benefits. And if I sign up any more of you, I get a toaster, so think about that. I talked to you last time about my giant cone of yarn and the cardigan, and I was there, it's so good and it's going so fast. Ha ha. Tripped myself up there, didn't I? Anyway, and knitting in pieces is rank. I hate it. I don't know why I thought it would be okay. Anyway, this is the back of the cardigan. Armhole. It is knit. I am knitting it, if you weren't here last time, in a giant cone of Woolly Knits woolen cotton blend, and it's slubby and beautiful, and I love it. And I'm holding that with a ball of Drops Flora, I think. So that's the back. That's the left front. So that's it. They all just roll up into this nonsense. So they're going to have to be washed and pinned out before I can sew them together, which irritates the bejesus out of us as well. I'm so mad at this cardie, and it's not this cardie's fault. There's the right front and the armhole, which looks like just some spaghetti, but it really will look like a cardigan. This is the first sleeve, and then you can see, if I hold it out, where that's going to fit into those spaces on the back. I knit this 5 times, and now we're at war. Me and this cardigan, we are at war. So when I knit the sleeve, so it's going to be like, when it goes together, it'll be like this. When I followed the pattern for the size that I'm making for my husband, not for me, which is why it's looking a tiny bit too long, this sleeve was massive, like huge. You could put all your Greggs sausage rolls in it, and although that might be handy, it's not really practical to have like mass-high gaping sleeves like that. It's just not practical. So I thought what I'd do is I looked at the decreases, and I thought, well, if I knit the sleeves for the size below, it should still fit. pretty much, because this bit is about the same. It's the body of the sleeve that's bigger, and then this bit is not that much different for the two size down. But then the pattern, which is quite an old pattern, and it's written in a certain way, so it does those awful things where it says decrease 1 stitch at the neckline, at the neck edge in the next row, and every following 8 rows, at the same time decreasing 1 stitch at the armhole every other row 12 times until you are. It's one of those. That isn't even what tripped us up. I did the amount that it said. It was too big. I pulled it back and knit it back again. I did all of the increases it said. I started on the decreases. The numbers of stitches and the numbers on the pattern didn't match up at all. I couldn't work out what I'd done. I went back. I looked at it. I reread it. Couldn't do it. Pulled it out. Did it again. Same thing happened. Pulled it out. Ended up writing down line by line by line by line everything that I had to do. Finally got through it, had to fudge it a couple of places, but finally got it done. And I thought, right, okay, I've got all those notes. The second sleeve will be a breeze. And what I also did, which I like this as a tip, every time I did an increase on this row, I put one of these little stitch markers. As you can see, every 8 rows, a stitch marker. And then as I get to the same point in the second sleeve, I take the stitch marker off that sleeve and then onto this sleeve, so I can see that I've got them all the right amount in the right place. So that was working really well. Cooking on gas, got this done very, very quickly. What happened? Ran out of the drops wool. I know I've got a ball of it in a bag, in a project bag somewhere. Can I find the project bag? I cannot. It's in this house somewhere. I've took the house apart. I can't find it. I'm halfway through a row. These are those new Zing needles that I was talking about last night. They're so nice. I like them so much. I like the funky yellow cord. And the needles are lovely. Really smooth and gorgeous. Anyway, halfway through, hadn't realised. Ran out of the drops. I had to go on to, thank heavens for the Woolly Warehouse, so that I've got more coming, but it's going to be here for a few days. So this is now on hold. And I'm so angry at it. It's like it did it on purpose to annoy me. And I'm really not looking forward to sewing it together either. So maybe it's a good thing that I'm going to have to wait a few days for the wool to come for me to stop hating this with quite such a violent passion. We'll see. And the thing is, if I'd just got that, being able to finish the sleeve, what I would have done for the button band is just hold the woolly knits double, and it would have looked slightly different, but I think that would have been okay. I won't have to do that, which is good, but on the other hand, I do have to wait whilst hating the flipping thing. I will finish it though. It won't beat us. I refuse to be beaten. I refuse. In the meantime, I have to keep the husband in socks and hats. He keeps me in red wine and chai tea. This is what happens. He gets wool, I get wine. This is how we work. So, oops, sorry. Spinning, trying to infiltrate. So, I knit him a hat for Christmas, and he's got a massive head. Massive. Like, honestly, I feel sorry for his mum. Massive. And to get it to fit his head, I have to knit big hats. But then he likes them. He has very specific requirements. It has to be a slouchy hat. It can't be a fitted hat. It doesn't like a beanie. It has to be slouchy. It has to look like a garden gnome. And then he likes his head. If he's got long hair and it flicks out the bottom. That's what he likes. So once they're knit and washed and they're put on his head, they're perfect. And then he wears them, and then he starts getting cross because they fall off the back of the head and I have to wash them again. But now some of them haven't gone back down and he's cross that they're falling off all the time, yada yada yada. So perfect pattern for a stupid head doesn't exist. So I thought I'd try the Rikke Hat, which is a free pattern which you get on Ravelry, and it's a garter stitch hat. So this is the brim. I'll go around his forehead, and I don't mind garter stitch in the round. When you knit garter stitch in the round, it means you have to knit a row and purl a row. When you're knitting garter stitch flat, you have to knit every row. But I don't mind purling. I think purling is more problematic if you're a continental knitter. I'm not. I'm an English style knitter, and I think purling is as easy as knitting. It's the same. I don't have any problems. Some people who knit continental have issues with, they call it rowing out, which means that your gauge or your tension on the front of your stocking stitch item is different at the back. So you can see mine's really even. I've got no rowing out, and rowing out means where you can see gaps between these rows. I don't. My tension is pretty even, because purling and knitting to me are very much identical. It's not an issue, and I don't find it difficult. So I know I had seen some hacks to knit this hat with no purling, and I'm fine with purling. And I'd also seen that if you do the no purl garter stitch for in the round, you get a seam up the back, but I'm finding I'm getting a seam up the back anyway. I don't know if you can see that just about there. I don't mind that. You'll know where there's the back. It's just where you're swapping where the yarn feeds from, whether it's from the front of your work or the back of your work. It's not even showing up, is it? Yeah, just there. This colour is lovely. It's West Yorkshire Spinners Croft. It's a DK double knitting, and the colour is beautiful. Sort of tealy, dark tealy, petrolly colour. I'm in a quandary whether to just knit a deep garter band, and then I'm worried that the garter won't slouch how he likes it at the back. So I think I might after the sun's coming out, after I've knit a really nice deep garter band, I might do some stocking stitch at the back to help that material be more drapey. But we'll see. I'm hoping not to hate this as much as I hate the other thing I'm making him. I just hate him. I hate him. So yeah, so that has been my while I'm waiting for the wool. I cast that on yesterday, because that's when I ran out of wool. Spinning wise, has been loads of spinning. Oh, can you see it in the light? So this, I took 2 braids of Hilltop Cloud fibre and a right mixture of fibre. So I know there's some, in one there was some long wool, some BFL, some other things, and the other one had camel and silk and yak. Not yak the way my kid says when I make her any food whatsoever, but yak the animal. And the colour braids were quite similar. But look at these colours. Oh, and they're gorgeous. I like the barber pulling that's gone on with some of the greens and reds there. This is just a 2-ply, and I actually haven't, I thought I'd plied it tighter than I have. I don't know if you can see these gorgeous colours. Pull back a bit. Oh, I'm so in love with it. And I was hoping I would have enough to make a garment for me, because I think that was my hair colour. This would look lovely. Let's see if I can just move for a minute. No. I'm nearly finished. I'm sorry if that's driving you mad. That's better. Anyway, so I was hoping there'd be enough for me, but there's only 500 meters, which I don't think is quite enough. I was hoping to be enough for like a vest or a slip over or whatever we're calling those at the minute. It's probably not. There's probably enough for another unarmoured defence cowl if I knit it quite short. But then, darlings, it's a dickie, not a cowl. Oh, sorry about this then. Anyway, I think this is gorgeous and I'm so happy with it. It's set and washed and ready to go. I just need to find the perfect pattern. If anyone's got any ideas on what a fat girl can knit with 500 metres, I'd be very interested. Let us know. And the other thing is, there's fibre flying everywhere. I don't know if you can see it. I bought another fleece, and then when I bought it, the farmer, she sent me a message saying, oh, I've got another one that's a bit manky, do you want that as well? And I'll just chuck it in and just make sure you wash it as soon as it arrives. And I went, yeah, all right. So I bought a BFL fleece. Look at that, isn't it beautiful? This is it washed and dried. Still smells incredibly sheepy. This is waiting to be carded. I've got some here. Also, if you're a spinner and you buy wool from the wool warehouse and they come in these bags, these are perfect for washing fleece in and storing fleece in, these big organza bags. So I've carded them and made them into some lovely fluffy rolags. That's what it looks like, ready to spin. These are quite big fat rolags, and I'm spinning them woolen style with long draw, which there's different ways to spin. One's called worsted style, which is where you smooth all the fibres out to make a really dense, heavier yarn. And when you woolen spun, you don't smooth them, you just let them fly, and that makes a really airy, open wool that is really warm. It's more traditional way, and they have different uses. So for example, you wouldn't really want woolen spun socks because the strength wouldn't be there. You would want worsted yarn to knit socks because it's stronger and smoother, and it's denser, so that'll have less wear and tear. But for really warm, lovely garments that hold the heat in that air, then woolen spun. And your traditional sort of rustic wools are all woolen spun. When you think about Shetland wool, things like Jameson's and Smith's, Rennie Super Soft, Hull Super Soft, all of those are woolen spun, more rustic yarns, and they are my preference. I have to say I don't buy much of the other kind anymore, and I have started spinning it. So I've brought my bobbin off my I'm spinning it on my e-spinner with my electric eel wheel 6, and I don't know if you can see, it's spinning up really beautifully, and that's only about 2 of those rolags, so you get an awful lot of wool, and I'm really enjoying it. There's still quite a bit of lanolin in, despite us washing it and washing it and washing it and rinsing it and rinsing it. I didn't want to over rinse, because like if you take out too many of this is a thing I've learned recently, if you take out too many of the natural oils, then spinning it's really difficult and brittle and you don't have as good a wool. Whereas if you leave some in, it's easier to spin. It's nice for your hands as well, the lanolin in your hands, and then a lot of that'll, if there's too much of it, it'll wash out when I wash the wool at the end. So I'm really enjoying that. And I think that's about it. I've got another, so that was the smaller fleece that I got, and then the bigger fleece is still waiting to be washed. So I'll do that at the weekend, I think. And then that'll just go in a pillowcase in my wool cupboard until I'm ready to spin that. But this is the one I want to get, this smaller one all done, and just that is what I'm doing, the February challenge on Instagram, and it says, you know, what are your projects for the year, and this is mine. I want to spin and knit this whole little fleece into something. And I think the sense of achievement that will come for that will be very similar to opening my comic. Did I mention it? So yeah, that is what's going on. there's spinning, there's knitting, there's screaming at the knitting. And yeah, that's it. So thank you for spending this time with me. Chat with me in the comments if you want to. I'm on Instagram as Whittle Waffle as well, I think. I always forget to do that thing where you say please like the video and subscribe if you want to. This is a tiny little channel and I'm okay with that. But it would be nice to have a few more likes on there. I would like that. So if you enjoyed it, please like it, and I'll see you again next time. Stay nerdy.